don't forget, folks, we are among the first to get Jesse Ventura's new book, American Conspiracies. It's available at Infowars.com, and when you get it at an already discounted price, American Conspiracies, Lies, Lies, and More Dirty Lies, the government tells us, you can get a free Loose Change Final Cut, excellent film on 9/11 to wake others up, or get a free Aaron Russo Reflections and Warnings documentary. And the book's already discounted by $5 from $24.95 to $19.95, and you get a free film. Or you can get a T-shirt for $5.95, which is basically our cost of your choice. Got a bunch of great Don't Tread on Me, Join or Die, Patriot shirts. They're available with the special, and it'll ship out. We're supposed to not ship it until March 8th. So I'll just tell you that, but we'll have it first and get it out to you. And Jesse Ventura is on just a few days after it comes out. But going back to Bob Chapman, I want to take calls for him in this segment and the next, and he's leaving us. I'm going to blitz through a bunch of news and continue with your phone calls. Right now, let's go to Michael in Texas. You're on the air with Bob Chapman. Go ahead. Oh, he just dropped. Man, okay, they do that right when you go to him. Jerry in Indiana, go ahead.
Hey, Alex and Bob Chapman, thanks for standing up for liberty and freedom. I got a question for Bob here. You know, I've talked to our congressmen and representatives because things are really bad here in Indiana, unemployment-wise, just like across the nation. I tell these people, you know, the definition of a third world is a country with no manufacturing base. Bob, how do they expect to bring jobs back with NAFTA and GATT in place? It's just ridiculous.
It's not going to happen unless we can change the complexion of Congress and pass tariffs on goods and services like we had since 1800, which helped make America a very strong nation.
And they lie to
British
people.
Mercantilism.
Go ahead. Go ahead with mercantilism.
British mercantilism is what free trade, globalization, offshoring, and outsourcing is all about. It's carried on by transnational conglomerates that keep their profits offshore and don't pay taxes on them. And so that's why Congress doesn't want to pass that, because they're all paid off by them. And it's called campaign contributions. And so you got to change Congress, and then we got to put the acts in. And once we get that passed, everybody in the world's going to be mad at us. It's just too bad. We got the biggest market in the world, and if you have tariffs on things, what's going to happen is the manufacturers who moved out are going to have no advantage of being where they are now, let's say in China, because the tariffs are going to make everything equal.
And let's expand on that. With environmental rules and regulations, we have a tariff on ourselves against our own goods. It's not free or fair to compete against Mexico or India.
And you can impound that into the tariff. You can say, you don't have any environmental controls, and so instead of charging you 50 cents per item, we're going to charge you 75 to make up for that. And then all that money goes in the Treasury.
And that's how we're supposed to fund the country, instead of the stinking income tax that goes to the private banks.
That's right. Absolutely. And
yeah, I mean, who knows better?
Spades.
The bankers that have raped and robbed us, or the founding fathers that made America great? Whose system do we want? A bunch of fancy bankers come in here and tell us what they're going to do for us and how great it's going to be, and it's wrecked us by design. This is by design. Any other comments, Jerry in Indiana?
Yes, you know, my dad taught me I'm 56 years old now, but he taught me at a young age, you back somebody in a corner, they're going to come out fighting. What does the New World Order think of 200 million armed civilians, Bob?
They are going to be terrified, and if they bring in foreign troops, I can promise you our military will make sure that they don't return from whence they came.
We'll be back. Man, the first 3 hours have gone by very quickly. We're in the fourth and final hour. I'll be back this Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. I have a special guest joining us, surprise guest in the studio. Want to stay with us for that. I'm going to have Bob Chapman stay another 20 minutes with us, because I just really always enjoy talking to Bob, and I know the callers want to talk to him as well. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231. And let's go to Mike in New York. Mike, you're on the air worldwide.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me on. This is indeed a pleasure. It's a first-time caller. I have sort of like two questions regarding the Federal Reserve for Bob. And what I want to know is, I heard that the Federal Reserve and a lot of the central banks do what's called double booking gold, where they double up what they say they purport in having. And then the other question that I want to ask you is with regards to if the audit should occur and all this unraveling of corruption is unveiled to the masses, what and how would that impact the gold reserves and the price of gold?
First of all, it'll make gold go up, and secondly, we don't even know whether they have any gold. They haven't had an audit since 1954, and we see over the last couple of years in the general market where non-good delivery gold has showed up, which is coin melt. And as far as I know, the only nation in modern history that's melted coins was the United States government. And so they have sold gold. We don't know how much. I know that there's gold in Fort Knox because one of the military people in one of the programs said, look, I was guarding it. There's something there. I don't know who it belongs to. I don't know what's inside the gold-looking bars, but we guarded them, and I was head of the detail.
Well, let me expand on this. Let me expand on this, though. For those who don't understand, they had a little bit of copper or other, maybe 1% or less, into gold coins so that they're not soft, so the faces don't wear off, and so people can't easily grind them down. Pure gold melts very easily, deforms very easily, and so, yes, gold has shown up between central banks that's supposedly, pure gold, like it's supposed to come in the bars, and it's not pure, showing chicaneries going on. Go ahead, Bob.
And so we don't know what the U.S. has. It would be nice if they had everything they say they have, but we know that's not so. And this goes back to the late 60s. Lyndon Johnson, we don't know what he did. And then they had the ROSA bonds, which were all redeemed, which were bonds were given out and backed by gold, and people took the gold instead of taking the cash. And but, they never reported on it. All we can do is guess at what they did. They hide these things all the time.
And the question is, why do they get to be so secretive?
Well, because they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. And that brings us back to the first question, which about the Federal Reserve double counting or having double
sets of books.
Well, yeah, we could call it two sets of books. And the answer is yes, but we won't know until we get there. And when we get there, the people will be enraged. And I would think that the other bill that Ron Paul has, which would do away with the Fed, would be passed, and their responsibilities would be passed back to the U.S. Treasury, where they laid under the Constitution until the Act in 1913. And one of the important things, if that happens, is that we stop the revolving door between Wall Street, banking, and the U.S. government, because they really control the government.
I mean, it's a 101 conflict of interest. I appreciate your call, Mike. Good to hear from you. We're going to come back and talk to John, Mike, Kathy, Tom, and others. But I want to make a point when we return and get Bob's take on it. We've seen this Federal Reserve disinfo put out really through the Patriot community. As Cass Sunstein at the White House said, they've lost so much credibility, they have to pose as us to then get any credibility, and they've been putting out this parrot message over and over again that you better not audit the Fed because you'll get something worse. You can't get something worse. We're already under a financial dictatorship of these people. We'll be right back.